display.
Hi and welcome back. Please let us know if you're watching, just so Ian knows who's here and who's still missing. And as soon as we have everybody back from this morning, we'll carry on.
Sandra's just got a fresh coffee. Sandra's book. I think we're missing Pat. Oh.
Okay, so if you are having problems with Zoom, then it's just Command or Control and the plus and minus to zoom in and out. Just in case you didn't see my reply.
I think that is everybody
Okay.
that I've asked. Well, I've sent links to. Tagged everybody I can. So
Okay, so if everybody wants to just let Ian know that they're here and okay.
we have 6, so we're missing a couple here.
Okay, so any questions that arose over break, don't be afraid to ask them. I think we've managed to respond to most people, but just in case. So I'm going to start off by doing a little bit on effects so you can see how we can use those. Then we are going to start importing files so you can see how to work with
do we
files
need
from
to
others.
download to continue?
Yes, you do need to download the paper pack ideally, or if you have another paper pack that you know you've got on your system that you can use instead, that is fine too. You don't have to use that particular one. You can change the colour of your flower to suit your paper, which we'll show you how to do in a minute.
Did you download it?
Yes, I'd already had it downloaded yesterday. At least I hope so, because I clicked on the download button and it did its little spring across the screen. So. Oh.
It's okay. No, I don't, because I have a new one.
Good time. Okay, so if you haven't got the effects panel hiding over in your studio, all I've done is I've just clicked and dragged it out. So to put things back, you can just drag it in, to bring it out, you drag it out. But if you haven't got it at all, you can go to Studio and down to Effects.
Choice is okay.
So in Effects, you'll see that you've got lots of different options. So I'm going to go through them one thing at a time so you can see how they react. So I'm going to start off with my Gaussian blur. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to soften the edges of the shape that you have selected. So we can increase the radius and you can see it's blending the edge of our shape. So hopefully you can see now why I say when you start to work with effects it's no longer any good to use your scan and cut. So we can soften that and we can actually start to use that to colour our elements underneath. So have a play with that one first. And you can see over in our preview he's got that nice blurred edge in there too. So just tick the little box and slide the slider. You can also knock it back a bit if you want to.
Just back, where do I get download?
Okay, so the download is in the group. So I haven't got a Facebook tab open now other than the one running the stream.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll post a link in the group for you.
Thank you, Ian.
That's okay.
So it is a freebie, and if you don't manage to download it in this session, you can always come back after you've had a play. So next, I'm going to click on my next flower, and we can pop up our little tab for our Gaussian blur. And next we can go to outer shadow, so we can tick it, and you can see that straight away it's got an offset of 0 and a radius of 0. So your radius is going to control how much of a distance it has. So you can see as we increase that, it's going to get more and more of a shadow around it. And your offset is actually going to move that shadow. So if we go mad, you can see things a bit easier. So you can see that's going to move things right off offset, or we can just do it a little bit, so give a sense of 3 dimensions to it. We can change the colour of it too. So one of the things I would say when you're doing shadows is try not to use black, because it does flatten everything. So if we move it round to sort of the purples, and we can use a purpley colour instead, and it just softens that colour. You can also make it darker and more opaque, or you can keep it lighter and more transparent, depending on the layers that you have underneath.
There's the link for the file if anybody's looking for it.
Okay, so I'm going to leave that open there for you to have a play. And the angle as well just changes the direction that offset goes in. So it looks like Ian's finally got his version of Affinity up and running.
Better late than never, eh?
Mm-hmm.
What was the other settings that we changed?
Text under the menu at the top that we did under
Yeah, that's under view, isn't it?
view, yeah.
What about these with the PSDs to be...
I won't change anything there, to be honest, for you. Yeah.
We changed that to English UK. So it doesn't talk to me. Well, it says it requires a restart, so...
Yeah.
I'll be in US for now.
That's why I don't mess with mine. Restart for new language, it's like, nah. Okay, so is everybody okay with that one then, Ian, for me to continue to the next bit?
Stage page can't be found. Okay, hang on a second.
Did you just copy the text rather than the actual link?
No, I copied the link, but let's do it on Facebook, that's why.
Copy everything before the question mark. Okay. So with that one in place, we're going to leave that one ticked. And we're going to go to Inner Glow and tick that one. And again, we're going to change that radius. Let's go a bit bigger, and you can see we can start to put a glow around the edge. So that's what that one does. If you're not liking that one, because I'm not feeling it, we can try an outer glow too. And we can make our flower start to glow. So if you change the colour of that, you can do more like a neon effect if you want to.
Try that one.
Radioactive flower.
That looks more like me because it's got the... so let's remove that one.
Oh.
Leave that one one so people don't get confused when it comes in later. So try that one, I'll put a new one up. That one's got the right preview on it, so hopefully that should pull that through.
Okay, so inner shadow, and this is like your outer shadow, but it's going to work for the inside of your shape. So you can see if I pop that up, it's going to darken down those edges. So you can make it look like you've inked your layers without actually having to ink your layers at all. And again, as I said before, try and avoid using black. So I'm going to go to a dark purpley blue. And darken it down a bit, like so. Okay, then we're going to go to our next flower. So let's go for another shadow. So you want to make sure if you've used an angle here to do your offset, you keep that same angle for all your other layers, otherwise it's just going to look a little bit odd. And again, we're going to change that colour. So all the colours that I'm selecting at the moment are still editable even after I've gone away and done other things. There's nothing that's locked in stone. So if we want to tweak these colours further down the line to make them match something else, we can do. Just going to make that a little bit darker, like so. And this time let's go for a gradient overlay. So you can see that we can actually overlay that over our colour. And if we knock back the opacity, you can see that our original colour starts to come through. So that's a good way of making something look like it's curved. So I'm just going to take that stroke out as well, just so we don't need it now, so it can hide.
Got it, Sally's got it. Okay.
Okay.
I don't bother because it's on the top computer. It makes no sense to me downloading it on here to put it on.
Yeah, it won't work.
I think my brain went, yeah, that'll work. No, it won't.
You're so used to everything, talking to everything else, that when you introduce a PC, the PC goes, no, I see no computers.
At least if somebody asks a question of where something is now, we've got...
Yeah, so if you do get stuck, don't be afraid to ask him where something is on a PC. He's got it in front of him now, so he's not flying blind.
Eventually.
So, finally, let's do a bevel and emboss for this last layer. So you can see when we tick it, it comes in with a little highlight that's going to be on one edge and a shadow that's going to be on the opposite edge. And we can make those more pronounced. So if I take that up, you can see it a lot clearer. We can increase the amount, and you can see it also does the shadow to the outside as well. So if you want to make something look like it's embossed into something, then it's a really good one to play with. And if you want to get even more involved with settings, you can click on the little cog and you can actually go in here and we can actually play with those even more. So we can go and change that to emboss rather than pillow. We can just concentrate on the outer edge, or we can just use it on the inner edge. So if we know that we're going to just cut it out at the end, we can just use that inner option just to keep it to the inside of our shape.
Okay, I'll just purchase the full version, so hopefully this will work when downloaded.
Yes.
There's no reason why it shouldn't work with the trial, because the trial is supposedly...
Yeah, the trial should be exactly the same software. Because you should just be able to just type your key in and off you go. The only thing that differs from that is the beta. So when you have purchased the full version of Affinity Designer, you can actually sign up for their beta program as well. So at the moment they're trialling things like the contour tool, which is their version of the offset. So how you can make things bigger and smaller.
Joy says I don't see a cog.
Okay, so do you want to just have the effects up on there for me, Ian?
It's that one there, isn't it? Can I pull it out? Come on. There we go. And let's make it a bit bigger.
So probably need to put it on a shape. So draw a shape.
And then emboss, that's all you're using, isn't it? There's
Yeah.
the cog.
Yeah, so when it's ticked, the cog appears just to the right hand side, just there. And that's the same on PC. And then that brings up your big panel, like that. So if I go into my Gaussian blur, you'll see I can do things like preserve alpha. So what that means is if you're working with a shape like this and you've got an image in it, it will blur the inside of the image, but the outside of that shape is going to stay solid if you have that one ticked. Change into this layer here, and you can see that as I click on each piece, I don't have to go out and back into that panel. It's just going to swap, and what is ticked shows what's currently enabled. So we can edit in here our radius and our offset as we were over here, but now we have some additional sliders. So we have intensity and blend mode. So if you want to leave it on multiply, you can do. You can set it to darken, and it changes how it interacts with the colour in the shape basically. So on something like this, it's going to be fairly subtle, but as I'm doing that, if you look at the shadow of the flower, you can see it's changing slightly. So colour dodge will give it a glow. Multiply tends to be a bit better at doing it than darken.
Oh, I have a large box full.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we go to our middle flower where we put that gradient overlay on, in here we can actually change the gradient, we can scale the gradient, we can offset it. So there's lots more options that you have in this panel to this one. So think of this as the beginner's friendly version, and then as you get more and more advanced, you can start to play with the options in here so that you can tweak things to exactly how you want them. Finally, down in this little bottom corner here, we have scale with object. So what that means is as we're resizing things, it's going to resize that amount so that that amount of highlight percentage wise stays the same when we're resizing. Okay, so there's our flower. So next I want to bring in a rectangle. So nice and easy. Going to just go to the rectangle tool on the left hand side. Then we can click and drag. And I'm not worrying about the size at this point because we can play with that in a minute. Okay, so draw a rectangle, and when you're good to go, just let me know. And I'm going to show you the first of the ways that we can work with external files in Affinity. So has everybody got a rectangle?
I'm waiting for confirmation on that one. says okay.
Okay.
Joyce says done. Marie says yes. Carol's only watching.
Okay. So if we go to the...
Sally says it just crashed.
Oh, okay. Good news is, if it's crashed, the chances are it's saved a recovery file so that when it restarts, it should come back to where you were. Thankfully, it's quite good at that.
It'll only be one step behind, won't it? Depending.
Yeah. Usually it's where it left off.
She's just watching, so don't wait for her. Okay.
Okay. So this tool here that has the little rainbow going around it with a line is your fill tool. And you can see up in the context menu it has fill or stroke, and then this drop down has lots of options. So I'm going to select my shape, make sure it's blue. So solid is obvious, it's just a flat colour. Linear is a linear gradient, so that means it's going to go from one end of a line to the other, and we can put other colours in between if we want to. So if I show you what I mean, I'm going to change my...
9 days for your Apple ID. Why are you... What?
Huh?
Carol's saying the new version is still not working, but I have to wait 9 days for my Apple ID. You should be able to instantly reset your Apple ID. You shouldn't have to wait 9 days for it, Carol.
That sounds a bit dodgy. So by clicking on that line, you're going to get the extra dot, and we can slide that dot along the line so that we can put different colours in it. The little lines in between control how it's going to transition between one dot and the next. So we can move that down towards the dark colour so we get a softer blend. So if you're getting a bit of a line, then you can move it so that you get a nice soft blend. Okay, so that's linear. If we go to elliptical, it's going to keep the same colours selected so you can see how these act. We can actually move our gradient around. So if we want to put that up in the top corner, we can do. So it's a really good way of having it independent from the shape. Don't even think about it, computer.
How's it doing?
It acted like it was going to crash, so just keep an eye on the stream in case it's crashed in the background. Says it's okay, but just in case.
No, it's okay, I think, at the moment.
Okay. Then we have radial. So this is literally circular. You can change the angle if you want, but it doesn't really make a lot of difference, because it's just going to keep it as a circle. We have conical, which is where it's going to take those colours and it's going to wrap it around the circle and back to that point. So you're going to get a seam. It's very rare you use that one, to be honest. And finally we have bitmap. Now this is how we can work with external images in our shapes. So we're going to go to downloads and into our B paper. Now you have pattern tiles and clip art for this as well, but I'm just going to go for, let's just pick one. So let's go for number 2 and go open. And it's going to bring in your B paper like so. Okay. So I'm just going to wait for you to all get to that stage before I start playing with the next bit. Now it may come in a different angle. That's okay, we can play with that in a minute. And it may come in a different size.
Can you run that again, please?
Yep, sure. So you just, I'll flick it back to something else for a minute. So you're going to go to bitmap. You're going to go into your downloads, into your Serenity B digital paper folder. Scroll down to number 2. And then go open, and it's going to come in with your bees. Okay, so when you've got your paper in, we can use our arms to change our angles. So you can decide which way your bees are going to fly. So if you want to take them diagonally, you can do. If you want to keep them nice and straight, you can also do that. If we press and hold shift, you're going to be able to constrain those to the vertical, diagonal and horizontal. I think diagonal looks pretty cool actually. Okay, we can grab the centre one and we can move those around. So if we want to change where it's sitting in terms of where that print is, we can do that. And if you want to change your move tool, when we resize it, it's going to keep that bitmap in that format. Okay. And if at any point you decide, well, I want to change that now that I've increased that, we can change those handles. We can still press and hold shift if you want to keep it to that same angle. And I'm just going to move that up slightly. There we go. Okay, so if we click on a shape and we look down at our transform, we can now see the size that it is. So this is the width as currently and the height. So you may want to adjust those easily by just entering numbers. So if you want to do it to 12 centimeters, we can put 120 millimeters. Okay. So because we haven't got it locked, it's just on that one edge. So if I go back, next to that, you've got a little lock here. If we click that, it's going to turn black and it's going to link these two elements. So then if we type in our 120 again and hit enter, it's going to resize that height so it's locked. Okay. The next way that we can work with an image is we can actually go to our place image tool. So if we click that one, it's just going to come up with our find menu or documents on PC, and we can just click an image that we want to bring in. So we could go to the clip art and let's bring in a bee. Let's go for a gold bee. And it's going to go to this little tool with an arrow and a download arrow and a little place. If we click and drag, We can change how big our bee is going to be, and then we can put him on our flower. Okay, so I'll repeat that again so you can see it. So you're going to go to place image, which is the one that looks like a little picture. Let's go for the blue and gold this time. So you can click and drag, and that's going to bring it in. Now it's going to keep it in proportion so long as you don't touch any other buttons. If you want to warp it you can do, but most times you're going to want to keep it locked. So there's our bee. He's an awfully big bee, so I'm going to shrink him down a bit. I'm going to put him on his flower. So just because I want another swatch to work with, let's pop that in there. So you can see, because we had that bitmap selected from the last time, it's automatically put that in for our next shape. That's okay. We can go back to our fill tool and we can change our image as well. So I'm just going to flick between the two just so it goes back to bitmap. And this time let's go for pattern tiles, and I'm just going to go for a PNG. So we've got some nice colours going on in here. So if I go back to my fill tool, you can see that it's automatically tiling that pattern panel, so I can have it as big or as small as I want it. It's going to fill that whole shape. So up here you have a few options. You can mirror it so that it doesn't always look like it's going to be exactly the same. So you can see it's more of a kaleidoscope effect. You can have it so it just repeats, which is, it's good to use that one if you're trying to use a photo and you need to wrap it around a canvas. That's about the only time you ever use that one. You have 0, which is literally, it doesn't bother doing a repeat at all. But for most point you can use wrap and it gives you the best results.
Carol says she doesn't want to sting from that bee. It'd be very painful.
It would at that size. I don't like bees. Okay. So at the moment we've got these two nice coloured documents and our little bee, and our flower definitely doesn't match. So there's a couple of options. So first of all I'm going to click on my bottom flower, and at the moment if we go to fill, it's going to behave. Nope, not going to behave. Come on, there we go. We've got a little eyedropper just here. We click and drag, and we can hover over a colour in an image, and we can pick that particular pixel. Okay, then we can click that colour and it's going to apply it to that flower. Okay, so I'll do that again for the next flower. So click on the fill, go to your eyedropper, click and drag, and I'm going to go for a slightly different shade of blue. And then we can click and apply. So click on the fill, get the eyedropper, let's go for something a bit paler, so let's go for that one, and click on the colour, and that's going to apply to that one. So remember, this is just altering that fill colour, it's not messing with the effects, so if you need to go back and tweak those after, you can do that. And finally I'm going to click on the centre of the flower, and at the moment it's that delightful green, but I'm going to pick that gold colour so that everything ties in. So click on the gold, and there we go. We have a flower that tones. Now if you would work the other way around and just brought in an image first, we can go to swatches and we can actually create a palette from a document or from an image. So if we go from image, just because we've got lots of things on the document, so that's going to get confusing, we're going to go select image, and we can actually click on one of our pattern tiles, or we could use one of the papers and actually pull the colours through at that. So let's go for number 3. So you can see it's brought in our image and it's looked at that image and it goes, right, okay, well I can see these are the 5 main colours. So you can see down here it's saying 5. Now we can actually go, actually I need a few more than just 5, so let's try 8, and we're going to go to preview, and you see it's now picked up 8 colours that we can play with. Okay, but I still haven't got this pale colour in here, so let's pop it up a few more. And you can do as many colours as you like. So if you want lots of different tones to play with, so now it's brought that pale cream through, and we can go create, and it's given us a whole swatch library that we can use, and you can see it's given it a name based on the file name. So do you want to just have a go at that? Just let me know when you have a palette to work with. I'm going to put my bee back over on my flower now, because he looks much more at home on there now that the colours are all matching.
So which bit do you do it from your swatches panel?
Yep, you do it from the swatches panel,
Create palette from your
then onto the little 4 lines, then create palette from image.
and select image.
Yep, and select your image. And let's this time do it from one of the papers, so let's go for that one. So it's pulled in all these colours, and pardon me, you've got 5 colours down the bottom, so if you increase that you can get
61. Yeah.
no, you don't need 61 colours. That's a little excessive, Ian. So it is just doing it on PC to make sure there's no differences to what I'm saying.
I'll go 14. Location application.
Okay.
So I want location document.
So document means exactly that. It's just going to be saved with this document. If you want to use it for other documents in Affinity, then you're going to want to select application. If you're going to want to use it outside of Affinity, you can try and use system. It doesn't always travel.
I don't think we have system.
Do you not have system on PC?
No, we have application document
Ah, you
or currently
see.
selected palette.
So everybody goes, why get a Mac? Oh, I don't know. And you finally have the option for currently selected palette if you have a palette that's sitting open at the moment that you've edited. So if you want to add colours to it, you can do. So hopefully now you've got a few different things that we can start to play with for our design. We have a base for a panel on our card. We have our flower design with our bee, so I'm going to group that. So that's Command and G or Control and G on a PC. I'm going to bring it up towards the top, so Command Shift and close square bracket to bring it up to the top, or Control Shift and close square bracket on a PC. And I'm going to pop that round about the middle. So it's up to you whether you want to use this paper or if you want to use a different one. The choice is yours. So as I'm working with building my design in Affinity, I'm not concerned at the moment about how I'm going to send that to my machine. I'm just mapping things out where they're going to go, and then I can divide it up after. Okay. So, next, we've done all of our funky flowers. This time I'm going to go for the cog tool, and I'm going to draw a cog. I'm pressing and holding shift so I keep it nice and round rather than oval. And you can see we've got a few more red dots on this one.
Carol just downloaded the beta version for Designer, and that appears to be working, so she doesn't know what's wrong with the other version.
Yeah, have fun with the beta, that's what I would say. It works exactly the same, except it's got a few extra tools that we haven't got in the full version. You can still save it to it, but it isn't backwardly compatible to the existing version of Designer usually. So, what I usually say is if you copy and paste it into the full Designer when you get that working, you'll be alright. Okay, so with our cog, we're going to zoom in. So we've got a little magnifying glass down here, or you can press Z to get to it. And I'm going to zoom in. So to do that, I'm just clicking and dragging. You haven't got to press anything else. So just drag to the right and down. I'm going to press and hold shift with the move tool so that I get my little hand, and I can drag it back in. And I'm going to change to a shape tool.
Was that not spacebar rather than shift?
Yeah, I meant spacebar. Thank you, Ian.
That's okay. No, I'm just...
Yeah. Okay.
Not being nasty, I'm just saying.
So with our red dots, I'm going to bring this one in. I'm going to pull this one to the right, so it's going to round it off. And we can change whether we want to have that much of a petal outwards, or if we want to bring it inwards. I think inwards would be good, like so. And if we pull that little dot out there, we get a flower. Nice and easy. So at the moment we can see that we've got a little bit of a flat point there, so I can just reduce that down to nothing. The knot size we can increase or decrease. So I'm going to take that, so it's going to be down to about 2.
Got an extra tooth, haven't you? Got 12.
Let's go for 11. Go down 1.
About your odd numbers.
Yeah. So we now have a flower. So before we go too far, we're going to go to Layer and Convert to Curves. So you'll see that our shape is now a curve in our Layer panel. We have it selected so we can see our blue bounding box. And we're going to go across to our Symbols panel. And we're going to click Create. And you can see a copy of our flower is now in our Symbols panel. And over in our Layers, it's become a symbol over here too.
And what if we don't have the symbol button?
If you haven't got the symbol button, you just need to go into View studio and symbols.
Because I haven't got it on mine. Symbols. That's done there.
Yeah, under swatches.
Styles.
Have you not got swatches?
No.
What have you got instead of swatches then?
Mine goes. Swatches is at the top, so I have swatches, snapshot, stock, stroke, styles, and then symbols, just above textiles.
That's logical.
Yeah.
Not alphabetical then.
No.
Okay. So let us know when you all have that as a symbol. Now symbols are cool. They're cool for many reasons, but they're really good at doing frames and they're really good at doing borders. So anything where you're going to have something that repeats identically is when you want to be using a symbol. And what's really cool about them is at any point you can edit one and it repeats across every symbol that you've put on your mat. So symbols are cool. And so long as your sync is on, which is just up here, it also works not only in this document on your desktop, but if you have the document open on your iPad, it syncs between the two. What are you doing to the poor stick?
Get rid of him.
Okay, so has everybody got a symbol in?
Just mirroring at the moment.
Okay. So when you're ready to make it a symbol, you just click on create. Now I'm just going to drop down my symbol and you can see that inside that is your curve. So if we were to choose our node tool, you can see it's not done anything to our path.
Joy says she has as well.
Cool. So nothing has changed. But let's say we do something mad and we delete a node. You can see straight away symbol is updated there and there, so that it's missing that little node. So I'm going to undo
How
that.
do we know if the sync's on? Where does it say about the sync?
Top right.
Right, yeah, okay. I have a symbol.
Okay. So now we're going to drag in another one. So you're just going to drag from out the bar, like so. And if you're thinking at the moment this is a bit big, don't worry. It's going to get slimmed down in a minute, so keep it nice and big.
Okay, I have two.
Okay.
Mine
So you
are a
have
bit big,
two.
but I have two.
Nothing wrong with being big. So I'm going to level those up so I can use my smart guides. And to show you how, again that it's still all active and live, we can delete that node and you can see it's going to delete out of the other one. It's really funky. So I'm I'm going to zoom back in. So I'm thinking it would be really nice to actually create a border that we can work with. So I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. Make sure that your curve is still selected here. And we're going to just click and drag a little border. Okay, so you want to have it quite thick because remember we're going to be reducing this border down in a bit. Okay, and we can even duplicate that same shape for the top. So if we press and hold Alt and drag, we're going to bring in another one. So let go of Alt now, and it's going to come back to our smart guides so that we can decide how high we want that bar to be. And if we drag it back towards our left, you can see it's going to come up with our green lines to say that our symbols are all nicely lined up. So I'm going to go just there. So your symbol's now made up of 3 shapes.
Daft question, might be. With your symbols, does it matter which, as long as you're on the curves, does it matter which one you alter? Does it alter all of them?
Yeah, it alters all of them, so it doesn't matter which.
If you've got
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter which one of those you alter, as long as you alter it on the curves. It alters all of them on the curves.
Does them all at once, so it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't care.
That's what I wanted to ask, because obviously you've got more than one on the screen.
Yeah, with Illustrator it's a bit more. It prefers you to work on the original point, but Affinity doesn't care which one you work on. Thankfully.
Sorry if it was a daft question.
No, it's not a daft question. No such thing as a daft question. So I'm just looking at that, and I'm just going to nudge it down slightly, just looking at the join of those 2 petals, because we want to make sure that it's going to cut well when it's small. Okay. Now we're going to do some of those scary path things. So we're going to click in our one flower, it doesn't matter where, within reason. We're going to click and drag, and we're going to click in our next flower. That's all you're going to do. A little less. Okay. I'm going to go to my stroke colour. Going to go to a swatch, and it's still got this yellow right at the top, so that's going to make it turn yellow. And we can increase the size of that stroke, like so.
Okay, Sally says she's locked the selection. What has she done?
Okay, so if you've locked a symbol, just by doing that, so you'll see there's a little padlock, just unlock it. Okay, and then just go back in to your symbol.
Oh yeah, it locks the main symbol. The one that I put up in the thing, it's got a padlock on it.
So you can unlock it.
So if I just click the padlock, it'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
No. So it does.
Okay. So hopefully you've got a little bit of a path. So if we go into pressure, we can actually start to play with that stroke a bit more. So first of all, take your left hand point and we're just going to drag it down halfway. Okay, so effectively you're reducing that 5.9 to 2.5. Okay. Ian's obviously not going to do this one with me. He's given up. So, we're going to click in the middle so that we get a blue dot. And we're going to drag that blue dot all the way up to the top. Okay. Now, just because I know this is going to be shrinking down, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. So, as I said before, don't worry about where you're clicking for this path because we're going to be playing with it. So we can get those nodes and we can take them where we want to. So if we want to take it down here, we can. If we want to take it down to the bottom, we can. If we want to take it up to the top, you choose. It's your design. Have fun with it. So I'm going to take that up there. Make that a bit more of an S. We can drag that bit in there if we want to, so we pick up a bit of the petal detail in here. The choice is yours. So one of the things to bear in mind when you're doing this is at the moment, you can see if I move this bit here, it's going to repeat here and it trails off. So at the start and end of your border you're going to have a bit of a different shape. So I'm going to show you how to fix that in a bit. You can have more than one line as well. So if you want to add another one, I'm just going to click onto that rectangle first, just so I don't continue that line or mess with it. We can curve it again. Try and work to one side if you're having something like this where it's going to be a chain. One of the things about learning to create your own cut files is you have to be aware of your negative spaces, so keep an eye on places like this and this, that they're not going to get too small to cut. So I'm just going to pull that back there.
Marie says she's going to watch again later because she's getting tired, so it's not making a lot of sense. Joyce does where is pressure, so if you can just show where pressure is.
Okay, so if you go into stroke, down to the bottom is where pressure is. Click on that, it's going to give you this little graph. Now if you have a graphics tablet like Carol, you can actually do that pressure just by stroking your pen across your graphics tablet rather than having to create it manually. Okay, so when you're happy with your layout, at the moment these are still paths, so if we were to send it to the scan and cut, see this blue line here, that's where it would actually cut, rather than cutting around the outside of this line here. So what we need to do is we need to go to layer and expand stroke, which sounds really weird because they'd be better off saying outline stroke or something like that, but it's expand, and that's changes it into a shape. Now if you've got something weird like this bit going on in here, we can sort that out too. So you can see we've got this random corner here. It's going to make that round.
So will this create a cut file that you can resize, etc.?
Yes.
And Stanley says she's lost, you'll keep watching. Cal says she's posh because she has graphics tablet.
Yeah, I twisted you on to have a graphics tablet, didn't I, Carol? Okay, so as we're working with a symbol and everything is all one colour, we're going to weld all of that together so it's going to be one piece. So to do that, you want to make sure that you have your layers selected in blue, not the symbol bit up here, so just these bits. Okay, up to the top where it says geometry, you've got add. Now add is exactly the same as weld or merge or any other term that you are used to. So we're going to do that, and he's going to weld it all into one piece. Okay. And you have your first finished symbol. Give yourself a pat on the back because you've just made a building block that's going to give you a lovely border. So give yourself a good clap. Because most beginners would never get this far. Okay, so we have two symbols. Now we want to repeat it so that we have a border that we can put along here. So select your two symbols, press and hold Alt, and then click, drag, let go of your Alt button so that we can get our smart back up, and then we can pop that into the right place. So now we have 4 symbols. Okay. Now I think 5 should do it. But just because that's going to go off the end there, let's shrink that down. So I'm just going to press and hold Shift. And I'm going to bring in another one. Now I've done that on purpose because when we move and we resize our symbol when it has the symbol selected, and this is what I wanted to show you, it's not affecting the scale of what's within that symbol. It's like a envelope. So it's kind of compressing that shape, but it's not affecting that shape, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to undo and undo. So if instead we go into our symbol and we click on the curve, we can actually resize it in there, and you can see then our symbol's resizing. Okay, so that's an important one to learn when we're working with symbols. So squeeze that up. Now I'm not going to worry about getting the distribution right because I'm going to show you another little trick. So let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that should look right. So I'm going to go for that. Yeah. So with our 6 in place, if we were to chop this at the moment, we're going to end up with this little hole over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do it so that I'm going to chop probably into this end here and into this end of this flower here, so that it's not too obvious that we have this gap. The other way that you can do it is you can actually extend it by 1 just so that you can cut into it, but rather than try and do that with your, it's easier to do it this way. So select and drag over the top so that all your symbols are selected. Okay, and we're going to go to space horizontally. And you can see all our spacing in here is now even. If we click off it, we shouldn't be able to see any white lines. If you can, then you just need to move over the end one and do that again. So that's just evening up your space so you've got a nice flow. So now you're thinking, okay, so I've got all these symbols, and at the moment, if we were to send that to cut, it's going to cut each one of those symbols out separately, rather than a nice border. So what we need to do now is we need to detach. So you see, now we go to a group. So that means it's forgotten that it was a symbol, but the symbol's still there if you want to use it for anything else. Okay, so although it's not there, it's still there. You can still go back to it. And if we go into one of these groups, you can see that each group only has one curve in it. So it's assuming that you'll have had multiple curves in that shape rather than just one. So we can ungroup all of those. So you just use Command Shift and G or Control Shift G so that you just got the curves. Everybody okay?
Because I've got a few just watching, so.
Okay. Then we're going to weld those together. So again, we're going to go up to add. And there's our border. So you've created your first border that will actually cut. And then we're just going to tidy up these end pieces. So a nice easy way to do that is to just use a rectangle. Now bear in mind at the moment our stroke is a bit mad, so I'm just going to take it off. And I'm just going to fill it in a different colour so you can see it a bit easier. Zoom in. So I've popped one rectangle in, and I'm just going to take it past where this swoosh would have joined here. I'm going to press and hold Alt and drag the other one down this end. So at this point you can take it to about there if you want to, or we can take it a bit further in, like so. So now we're going to press and hold Shift, and if we go to our Layers palette and click on our down to our curves, so that's our two rectangles that are selected and our curves. Then we can go up to Geometry and we can go to Subtract, like so. So you should now have a border that looks like that. So the advantage of being able to go back and replay me is you can pause me when you want to. So I'm going to drag in another rectangle at either end. And I'm going to use this to finish off my border nice and neatly. So whereas you could have the border just finishing as we did before, I want to put a nice neat end cap to each one. So if you want to check that something is spot on the right height, you can use your transform panel to just check the height is consistent, so it's all 48.1. I'm going to select it all. I'm going to go to alignment and go to top so that I know it's all sitting perfectly, and then we can weld it, and we've done a nice neat finish to our border. Now for the easy bit. because we can just press and hold shift and drag that down to fit the same size as our paper. And I'm going to grab that flower and I'm going to bring that up towards the top. And I'm going to move it up slightly so that we can see a bit more of that nice border. After all, we've done all that work to it, you may as well be able to see it. Okay. Have I bored them all to sleep? So at this point you can see that everything is now curves and ready to cut, and yet we still have our symbol here that we can drag in and use for something else if we want to. So if you want to create a frame with it, you can do nice and easily. So you can just literally drag as many duplicates out as you need. You can rotate them, and you can even do another symbol for corners if you want to, and then rotate those around so that you have some nice neat finishes in the corners too. So any questions at this point before I go too much further? Have I blown all your minds? Now, I did a video, was it last week, on doing print to cut in Affinity with the registration marks. So I won't necessarily repeat that now because you can always go back and watch that.
Linda's asked, can you use this symbol in other projects too?
Symbols tend to stay with the document. If you want to use it in multiple projects, then you need to make it an asset rather than a symbol. So, assets. So I'm going to create a new one. So drop a symbol onto your mat, and then we can actually drag it into assets normally if it behaves. It may not. Be nice. Come on, let me add. No, it's not going to let me do it that way.
Pam said she had to miss this morning, she's just watching, it's all over her head at the moment.
See, look, now it goes and appears now, randomly. It's obviously just having a day. So we can drag and just click that in there, and it will appear in a minute. There you go. It's just a bit on the go slow. So you can drag your border in, and you can even drag your papers in. You can rename your assets, so if you want to give it a name of Serenity B, isn't it, the paper's called?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can export your assets. So we can pop it into the same folder, and then when you're ready you can import them into your new document.
So if you have lots on your page, that's your way you can...
Yep, you can put lots and lots of assets in. So for instance, when I'm doing like the book, I have a set of assets that go between each book, so that, you know, things stay the same. So like the sort of text panels, page numbers, tab points. Not master pages.
Can't put a master page
in. No.
Linda says thank you.
So last bit for this design.
Me too, but I've just managed to create my preset for 12 by 12 in inches from about 10:30 this morning with a laughing fit.
Practice is the key. I can't get over how much just keep
Getting
doing
used to
it.
using it, isn't it? And
Yeah,
where
so
things are.
you know, I could show you how to make boxes in like the beginner's one, because in some ways, if you think about it, boxes is quite simple, but then you've got to work out the calculations to make the boxes. So sometimes it's you know, just a case of just sitting there and just having a play. So we have our design almost done, but I'm thinking nice little sentiment panel just to sit down here. And to do that, let's go for an ellipse tool. So I just want to centre it when it feels like it. Come on, centre it to that square for me. No, it's going to centre it to everything else other than that square. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So next I want to do like a little sentiment oval frame
You need your book to follow.
I'm getting there. It's not far off, is it?
No.
I don't know whether to do the projects in it as a separate book, because it's going to be the projects that's going to make it take longer, isn't it?
We said about that, didn't we? Just do like a project book and do a separate.
Yeah, because it's quite a big book anyway without the project section. And the project section's quite big without the rest of the book, so we may split it into two.
I would.
Just to make... Well, it makes life a little easier for us as well, doesn't it?
You can always expand the project book then, so it's got a few more bits
Yeah.
in it.
I think people will look at the projects and go, she wants me to do what?
Yeah, but it utilises all the books, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
If they've got the books, then...
Yeah. So, I'm going to go to stroke and swatches and go for our gold colour. And this time, pressure, we're going to pop this middle one back down to the middle. We're going to pop another one just here and take that up to the top, and another one just here and take that up to the top.
It's mountains.
Okay, so with these three we may want to bring them down just a little bit, not too low, so about there. There we go. So we've got a funky frame then.
It's good to have the basics, and then the projects might not seem as onerous. Which is what we were saying, wasn't it? It might be a bit overwhelming if suddenly you've got...
Yeah, because it's probably not far off the size of the yearbook if you've got the yearbook, so it's like a doorstop. So it wouldn't hurt to split it up a little bit, and I think I need to put a little bit more sort of towards the beginning. So I'm going to go to layer and expand stroke again. So you can see we've now got two shapes. We've got our purple shape underneath, and we've got our yellow frame over the top. So if you wanted to, we can put in a little bit extra, and we can actually make it look like we've put a brad through it if we want to. So I'm just going to go back to my ellipse tool and just going to draw a little oval. Now bear in mind at the moment the stroke is going to be all wonky donkey, so just take that out, and I'm going to set the fill to yellow. And what are you laughing at, Ian?
Postman might appreciate it as well as two books.
I know our postman would. Bless him. Okay.
I know our DPD man will when he comes next with our next parcel.
So I'll just use Alt to drag a copy across. Okay. And we know those two are level, but now we want to make sure that they're sitting in the centre of our oval. And then we can weld those together. Like so. Question is, are you all having fun and thinking about how you can start to work with files a bit differently?
We're enjoying it is the question.
Yes.
Is it all making sense?
Or even if it's not making sense, do you think it will make sense when you've practiced? That's the important bit. Will it make sense when you've practiced? Okay. So I added another little circle, and we're going to use that emboss effect to actually make it into a little brad. So if at this point you thought to yourself, well actually I'm not going to print that brad, I'm actually going to put natural brad in, then obviously you can skip the effects because you're not going to need it. But
Sally says she's going to come to live with us for a week.
It doesn't make that much difference, does it? So, with the shadow, I'm going to pop it to purple. But the highlight is
just a week, more like a month.
And you'll be glad to know that you only have to create that once because we can duplicate it. So I'm just going to go Command and J, which is going to duplicate it because it's tiny. So not much chance of getting hold of it with your mouse. And we can use Shift to make it move quicker and the right arrow to drag it across. So
Linda says she's really enjoying it but needs to watch again and do each piece separately, understanding most of it.
That's good. As long as you're understanding most of it. So because I'm going to print those elements together rather than cut them separately, I'm just going to group those bits together. So that's the brad and the frame.
And Sally says yes, but he is a man, they don't multitask. Boy. Are you going to do a shortcuts poster for this one like we did?
Yes. Yes, that was on my to-do list for yesterday that I said to you about.
Yeah, I know you said about it, right, because Sandra says I need a course on key shortcuts. I'm old school, still have to ask my son for a lesson. Still have to ask my son for a lesson. But if you remember the posters we did for
Canvas.
We are looking at doing one of those for Affinity.
Yes, and the book has the shortcuts in as well. So whereas the poster will have the shortcuts and the icons, the book has the icons, the shortcuts, the features, what makes each program unique, because it covers Affinity, Corridor, Illustrator and Inkscape currently, and then we're looking at converting it so that there will be a separate version of it for Canvas, because there's lots that Canvas can't do, and a separate version for Skull.
And Janine says I want to have a go at the borders and frames for cards, so that will probably be my first repeat section.
Yes. Yeah. You can also do it to do like a doily. So if you're into doing your doilies, you can do it. Or if you want to get into your stencil designs, then you can do it as a symbol and you rotate it round.
This is going to be in the new book, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the new book. So it'll be Designing with Vectors, I've decided on the title is.
He says, do you need a proofreader for the book?
Certain bits I've had the DT doing that I thought were particularly awkward and kind of essential for somebody to be able to do, so I've had to do a little bit of tweaking on that one. But proofreaders, always looking for proofreaders, aren't we? The trouble is, with proofreading, the closer you are to the content, the harder it is to see the mistakes.
Yeah.
So because I constantly...
Mum, didn't we?
Yeah, you used to give it to Mum, yeah. She's like, yeah, I've checked through the language and it all makes sense, but I haven't got a clue what it's actually supposed to do. It's like her Mum scanning cut. She wouldn't be able to use it. Not the same way that I do. So, what should we put on our B card? Should we do a get well soon card? We could always do a get well soon card and send it to Pete, couldn't we? Because Pete's not well, bless him. Well, Pete and Paul, isn't it? Let's go for a nice font. I quite like that one, Americana.
You not have be well soon.
B.
Be
B.
be well soon.
Okay. So with my be well, I want it to be in white. Oh, setting it up for foiling, that's a whole of a kettle of fish.
Be happy too.
Be well, be happy. We could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to take my oval, my purple oval, and I'm going to duplicate it. So that's Command and J or Control and J on a PC. And that is probably the most used key press, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So with my oval, I want to create a path that's going to come round inside here. So, in Affinity, you don't have an offset yet. If you're working in the beta, Carol, you can use your control tool, your contour tool. I can't even say it alone, do it. So, you can use your contour tool and you can click and drag inwards, I think, from memory. I got kicked out of the beta a bit, didn't I? It wants me to find my key again, and I haven't got around to doing it. So, because Designer we bought through the App Store, didn't we? Whereas everything else we bought from Affinity. So, Designer's a bit of a weird one on here. So, as we need to do an offset on Affinity, what we need to do is, first of all, let's reset that pressure profile so that it goes all the way up to the top as a straight line. So you can just click reset. Nice, simple. We're going to put on a solid line. And we're going to bring it inside. So see where it says align here? At the moment it's aligned so our path goes through the middle. So hence you can see our blue line goes through the middle of the stroke, and this time we're going to align it to the inside. Okay, I'm going to reduce it slightly, not too much but slightly. Yeah, go for 10. Okay, and again we're going to go to layer and expand stroke, which gives us a shape. So at this point we can delete that original purple oval and we can go to our outline shape. Now the only shape that we want is the inside of this stroke. So if we go to divide, it's going to divide it into two shapes. So you can see it's now got two shapes selected, and we want to get rid of the bigger one. So there's our little one and there's our big one. So we'll delete that one. we're going to select that shape. We're going to put a stroke in and we're going to take the fill out. So we have our path that we can see here. We can then, before I go that far, make sure that your oval is selected. I've got my text tool so that my A is showing in there. So that's saying it's artistic text. And if you note, as you move over the shape, it's going to go to a T with a little squiggle under it. So you can see A, and then T with a squiggle. So at the point where it goes to a T with a squiggle, you want to click.
If you just unticked, would it just hide it on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just here. Yeah. I was thinking tick, tick, tick. Oh, that tick. So, when you have your flashing cursor, you can see that you have a green and a red triangle. Your green is where your text is going to start, and your red line and your red triangle is going to be where it finishes. So, I'm going to type be happy, and right now you can't see a thing because my text is white. So, if I go Command and A or Control and A on a PC, it's going to select all that text, and we can change the colour. So go to swatches and I can make it gold. I can also change the size. So let's go to something a little bit smaller, and we can change the font. Let's go to something a bit squiggly. So at the moment it's going round the outside of our oval. Now that's really not what we want. Okay, but that's okay because we can tweak it. We can drag our green triangles, so you can see that we've got a B and then a happy. We can bring it back round here. We can do it so that we force it all onto that bottom line just by using a carriage return, and we can drag that point back there. So we now have our be happy, and we can drag that onto our oval. So we have be well and be happy, and if you want to print that you can leave it as text. You don't have to worry about converting it to shapes. So hopefully that's given you some ideas. Oh, you naughty, naughty thing.
Affinity crashed.
No, it's Google being annoying.
What did Google do?
It's popped up with a notification.
Okay.
Quite.
Okay, so Janine's just asked, so if you wanted to have the B at the top and the happy at the bottom, how would you do that? I'm thinking of stickers for school.
Okay, so basically the be happy went to the bottom because I put a carriage return in it. So if you want it just at the top and bottom, then you can just literally not put that return in. So if I draw a circle,
An artboard one.
Yeah, I'll do an artboard one. Means that I have all that space that I haven't used yet, and let's put it in artboard one. Oh, and don't drag shapes. There we go. So, circle. Press and hold shift. And I'm going to reduce that stroke because that is massive. Don't need it that big. So, artistic text tool, over the top. You can see the T with the squiggle, and click. So let's go for something that's going to be a bit longer, shall we? How about well done on your exams. And we can see that we've got our green triangles. I'm just going to move that one back there. Oh, maybe a little bit further that one, because I'm going to take this red triangle here and let's adjust that. There we go. So I've got my well done. It's going to go at the top, and then I can adjust the on your exams for the bottom. So at the moment this is all sitting on the baseline, and while that's all well and good in most cases, what we actually want is so that our baseline is going to go through the centre of our text, so that it's going to become more of a circle. So Command and A or Control and A, then up here there's a command that says baseline, and this is where we can start to play with our baseline, so you can see how it then sits on that path is going to change. So if we take it down, it's going to go above our path. If we take it up, it's going to drop, so that our path goes through the centre of our letters. So about there where you've got the cross of the E sitting on your path is about right. So you want to match an E to an E if you can help it, because that gives you a really good basis, so that you know that your text is then sitting in a proper circle, like so. And then if you want to drop another circle behind it so that it's sitting on a nice background, we can pop in a different colour. Let's go blue, send it to the back. So that is Command Shift and open square bracket, or Control Shift and open square bracket. We're going to select both items by clicking and dragging over the top. Go to alignment and centre and apply, and you know that your text is in the middle. Nice and easy, and if you need to alter it just slightly because your O and your S aren't quite level, then you can go back in at any time, click on your text, and you can just tweak it.
So if you filled the circle with a colour, which you did, added an image and put the text on one sticker, could you then just duplicate to make a whole sheet?
Yes. Yes.
Literally, yep. Duplicate, 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 duplicate.
And that's a good case example for using a symbol. So you can take that, group it, that's the important bit, group it first, and then create, and you've created a symbol, and you can then put in multiple copies of that symbol. So if you want to then say well done for the report, you can change exams and it will go report, 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 report. Nice and easy. So
washing your hands on, so you could literally have
wash.
Well, it depends on what age school you're going for, doesn't it? You know, if it's young kids, you could have it for, you know, well, anything, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Wearing a mask. You could put a smiley face in the middle if you wanted to. You could put a star in the middle. You could put it's endless what you could put into that to make it.
So if you wanted to add a star, you can just go into that symbol and then go to your shapes. Let's go for a simple star, and we can go right. Okay, I'm going to draw a star. I'm going to fill it in. Let's go to the gold. Thank you. Like so, and we can line it up to the middle. And a nice easy way of adding a star.
Jesus, I know how I'm spending Saturday evening. Creating stickers for school for Monday.
Yeah, we did a whole load of stickers back for when we were running dance classes, didn't we, for different levels.
Didn't we
so
laminate
really
them as
easy.
well, didn't we?
Yeah, we laminated them. So basically we got a load of clear vinyl.
Yeah.
And went over the top of our sticker sheets. So we have a laser printer here, so if you don't laminate it, the toner can come off. So we laminate all of ours, don't we?
Yeah. Last 10 minutes we were just showing how to do some stickers, Carol, for Janine.
So as I said before, if you want to resize, make sure that you use your layers rather than the symbol, and we can resize those down. Now bear in mind that when you do that, if you haven't converted your text to shapes, it's going to need you to do a bit of rejigging for your text. If you're happy with your text and you know you're not going to change it, then you can always convert it to curves. So layer, convert to curves, and you'll see that it's going to change it into a group. Then you can resize to your heart's content, but just remember that you won't then be able to edit that text. So, and then go back to symbol to be able to move it. And you can fill a whole sheet of those.
The kids do anything for a sticker. Yep.
We had really funky stickers, didn't we? Because we were targeting like teenagers, didn't we?
We did,
So
yeah.
we had.
But the clear vinyl over the top's a good idea because it also makes them white clean.
Yeah, really, really easy to do as well.
Yeah.
So basically, when you print your stickers, if you then laminate them with clear vinyl first, then put them into your scan and cut and let the scan and cut do both layers at the same time.
Yeah. Job's a good one.
Yep.
Or Cricut or whatever machine you may have, if you don't have a scan and cut.
Yeah, that's very presumptive of me, isn't it? Sorry.
It is. It's very assumptive.
Yeah, if you felt the way inclined, you can even do it on your really old Cricut. If you've got Georgian basic shapes and want to sit there and go, right, circle, circle, circle. Okay. So that was a little bit of a detour, but it taught you some really important skills. So using the baseline so that you get your text to sit nicely as a circle, converting your text to paths when we want to resize, and also if you want to cut something on your scan and cut, you need to do that same step too.
I was asking, can you show something about the brushes?
Okay, so brushes. Let's see, where shall I go from here? So, I'm thinking it would be really cool to show the brushes on this flower. So I'm going to now go up to my group and let's go for this flower here. And I'm going to duplicate it just in case I go wrong. So, good rule of thumb that if you're not certain about something, or if you think you might muck it up, duplicate it and then you've always got a step back to go to. And next thing I'm going to do, just because it's acting a bit weird, I'm just going to save my document. So you'll see that star is going to disappear in a minute. Aren't you? Yes, you are. Come on, save. Thank you. Okay. Just because I know it's playing up a little bit. So, if I go into the pixel layer, at the moment this shape is a curve, and we can see it's a curve. And if we want to use our brushes on it, it's going to throw up a bit of a warning. I thought I was just going to do it anyway, and you won't necessarily see what it's going to do. But we'll see what it's going to do. So I'm just popping my glove on so that I can use my graphics tablet. So let's go for, shall I go for some sprays and spatters, because that could be cool. Let's go for something a little bit grungy. And I'm going to go where we can see it to start with. I'm going to protect my alpha. So remember how I was saying before that protecting the alpha is going to make sure that it doesn't go outside the lines. And if it's really good, I think I need to change my colour. Oh, my flow's a bit down. Let's take the flow up a little bit. I'm going to let my graphics tablet do my pressure. I can turn the stabilizer on, so that's going to help me keep a nice smooth line. And let's go into my swatches, and I'm going to pick something up that's a little bit darker. I'm going to see if it's going to be good. Now it's not coming up yet on my... Right, okay, so I want to go a bit bigger. It's a little bit small. Let's go big. That's better. So you can see here, as I'm using my graphics tablet, I have a little preview of what my brush is doing. So you can see it's going to go on my direction. So I'm not putting any pressure behind the stylus yet, so this is literally just hovering above. So you can see how it's going to react to how I'm going to draw. So if I do this, you can see that we can start to use a bit of pressure behind it. So when we're not pressing so hard, it's going to get quite fine. When we go bigger, it's going to really go for it. So let's change the brush. I want something that's going to be a little bit of a texture. So let's try this. So our flow is going to change the rate that the paint is going to go down. So if you're working with something that is textured, you're going to see that there are more open spaces. So I'm going to take that down a little bit more. The hardness is, like it says on the tin, is how hard that edge is. So I'm going to want to soften it just a little bit so it looks more like a spatter. And I'm going to lighten that opacity a bit as well. So that's how transparent our paint is. So we can go in and we can add shading so that it starts to look like we have petals. So you can see now why I started on this bottom layer, so that we're increasing the shadow and we can start to add texture in. So now let's go for something a bit different. And if we take the stabilizer off, we can start to just tap in speckles. So you can see it's going to give you a little preview of what it's going to put where, and then how heavy you tap is going to be how strong it is. So it's really good for if you want to add some detail into your flowers, but it's not going to go over the edge. So it's colouring where you don't have to worry about going outside the lines, which can be very, very fun. And if we want to do a bit of shading, we can do. So I'm just going to draw a little bit of spattered shading just in there, just to help that base layer stand out. So if I do it again on this shape here, so again I'm just going to do a duplicate, and we can go to a lighter blue. This time we can start to put in a little bit of spatter. Now bear in mind that when we're doing this, it's not going to affect that initial effect that we put on, in the sense that it's not going to paint over the top. So if you're painting in a light colour and you're thinking, well, you can't see it over this dark bit, that's why it sits underneath that effect. So, oh, don't want to go that much. I want to be a little bit more subtle than that. So again, I'm just going to take that flow down just a little bit, and I'm going to take that opacity down a bit. That's better. So I just want a little bit of a Don't forget to also go underneath your B as well, in case you decide that you want to move your B. Because remember, at this point, nothing is set in stone. You can always go back and change it. So it's always a good idea to mirror those things across. So you have lots of brushes that you can use. So you have dry media brushes if you want to go into gouache. So if you notice, you've got wet edges, so that's where you can do things like the blend. Let's go for something like that. And we can actually start to add in a bit of shading if you want to. And the other thing to bear in mind is that we can always knock back our pixel layer as well. So if you do think you've gone too dark, rather than having to redo all of this, you can actually just knock back that opacity of it. So if we go up here, we can actually soften it right down.
It'd be cool if something like with the wet edges, if it actually carried on, so like, you know, where you've missed that little bit on that one edge where it might just bleed off the edge.
So let's go to a different colour so you can see the wet edges a bit. So we're going there we go, so we can actually start to just blend with your brush if you want to.
So this reminds you of Craft Artist.
Well, it's by the same people.
Yeah. Okay, so you have Craft Artist on your other computer.
So you can essentially use Affinity Designer in exactly the same way as Craft Artist. The only difference is that you haven't got like the kit window basically. But you could use the assets, for instance, to actually develop that so that you have that same kind of collection of items that you could go between if you wanted to. So I'm just going to take the stroke off that shape, I think. Just hide that one. So appearance. If I take the stroke off, we can make it go away, and we can just see that there could do with being a little bit just in there, just to help that stand out a little bit. So if we go back down to our pixel layer, and let's go back to our blue, blue. And I'm just going to pick out a little bit in there. Let's go a bit darker. So next, if you want to go to a darker shade without having to change colour, you can change your blend mode. So I'm going to change it to multiply, and I'm just going to gently stroke in there so it just starts to make that one petal pop up a little bit.
Melted Joyce's brain.
I have to say, it's the one thing that makes Affinity stand out from Illustrator or CorelDRAW, is this ability to go between vectors and pixels with ease. So if you want to paint and you feel confident with painting, then you can paint in Designer. Okay. If you want to just stick to doing the vector stuff, so like what we did with the border, you can just do that. Or you can blend the two. So, next I want to show you how we go from having this design to actually having a file that we can print and cut. So, scroll along a bit. When we are designing for print and cut, what I would usually say is you'll always start off with your lowest common denominator, which in the case of your scan and cut, your printer is actually your printer, because your printer can't manage to print 12 by 12. In actual fact, we've only found one home printer, haven't we, that can manage 12 by 12, and even then it's expensive. I think it's expensive, and it's rare.
What it enables you to do, it's not that expensive.
Okay, so I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to go to print. I'm going to go to A4, and it's going to go to 300 dpi, that's fine. And I'm going to go to CMYK, and I'm going to go uncoated, because I'm probably going to print this out onto some decoupage paper or something like that. So if you're interested in different papers that we use for doing things like this, we'll let Ian know, and I'm sure Ian will be all too happy to point you in the right direction.
And your paper's nice that we've got at the moment, our printer paper.
Yes, the printer paper that we're using at the moment is very, very nice. Okay, so A4 sheet. And we have our separate document here. We're going to take our move select tool, we're going to drag over the top, we're going to go Command C or Control C to copy, we're going to go into our A4 document and we're going to paste. Okay, so even though our DPIs are different, you should find that when you're pasting a document between Affinity to Affinity, that your sizes should remain the same.
Joyce says she has a brother that takes A3.
Yeah, even our brother couldn't quite do 12 by 12, could it?
No.
Not without crinkling the end, which was annoying. Which is the main reason we got the A3, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so we have all our printed items, but we're going to want to layer those up separately. So I'm going to start by adding another artboard. So I have two artboards, and the second artboard is just going to be cut only. So this artboard is going to be for things that we're going to cut from coloured card rather than printing. So our border, we're just going to pop onto our cut only. And we don't need to worry about registration marks on this one because we're not going to be registering it to anything. Next, we have this flower, and you need to decide at this point whether you want to print it and just keep it flat, or if you want to layer it up. Now, my advice would be, as a beginner, keep it flat and then work on building that technique with the effects first. Then as you get more confident, then you can start to split it up so it's more like a decoupage piece. So I'm going to take that group and I'm going to pop it up here. Now if we drop that group down, remember that we've got that duplicate copy. There's method in my madness. And we're going to go to our effects and we're going to turn it off. So we want that effects to disappear from there. We're going to add a stroke and we're going to remove the colour. So now we just have an empty cut line. Now this is where you're going to want to start putting in layers. So with your artboard currently active, down the bottom of your layer palette you have one that says add layer. You're going to click that and we're going to call that print. We're going to click it again and we're going to give that a name of registration for your registration marks, and click it again, and we're going to have that as cut. So far so good. So our cut line that we've just got, we're going to take that out of our group, keep going up, and if it plays you up and you think it's not going to scroll, just keep being persistent with it.
If you scroll one.
Yeah, if you have one. Because not everybody has one, do they?
No.
So, when we're dragging our layer, we want to make sure that it goes inside this cut layer. So we're going to drag it so that it goes underneath and a little bit to the right and let go. So that puts it as a shape that's in that layer. Okay. Now that we've taken that out of that group, we can take the group and we're going to do the same but for the print layer. So it's now in there. Now for our next one. So we've got our little frame that we're going to want to cut separately. So we want to duplicate our frame. So Command and J or Control and J. We're going to take the colour out and we're going to put the stroke in. So then you're going to want to drag that up to your cut, and this time you're going to want to make sure it's in line with that last curve, and we're going to do the same with the group so it's in line with that last group, and we can shrink it up. Be well, be happy, and our oval, we're going to want to print that as one item. So we're going to group that, and we're going to want another copy of that ellipse, and again change it so that you've just got the stroke. Now remember, the machine can't see the pressure anyway, but we will go and reset that, and we're going to take that point size down. So again, we can go and pop that in our cut line and our group in our print layer. And we're nearly there, believe it or not. So we're going to duplicate our rectangle. We don't want that image in it, but we do want it to have that cut line. So again, we can pop that into our cut line, and we can pop our rectangle into our print layer. So far so good. Now we need to lay it out a little bit better. So our two rectangles we're going to want to move. So you want to keep those selected at the same time. So to do that, in your layer palette, with just your first rectangle selected, press and hold Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and click the other rectangle so that you have both selected.
Okay, go to this. Why do you have to take the colour out of your stroke?
Okay, so your stroke ideally you want to keep as just a black line for when you do an export to a cut file. The reason I say that is, although it makes no difference to a scan and cut, it does make a difference to some other cutters. So for instance, with some of the professional cutters, you can actually use different colours to indicate different cut pressures and cut styles. So if it's a perforated line, if it's a score line, you can actually use colour to differentiate. So that's the reason why it's good to get into the habit of actually going, well, actually I'll just have that as a black line. So I'll click and drag my rectangle down so that I've got my cut line and my rectangle together. Then next I'm going to go for the purple, and we're going to take those two and we're going to move those. So you can see as we drag those, we've got our cut line and our print items together. Once they've moved significantly enough away, we can actually click on them and move them if it behaves. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to pop that up there. And finally we just need to sort out our frame. There we go. Just while it's overlapping, let's move that there. Come on, be nice. Let's try and be clever. It's never good. So I'm going to move this up so it's level with that flower, just to try and minimise the amount of card that we need for our design. And yeah, come on, behave. Let's move up my little card base here. Now, we were talking about bleed earlier, and one of the options that you have at this point is you can actually add bleed to your individual items, so that it doesn't matter if you don't get your registration marks perfectly lined up. So with something like your oval, so your background here, that's really easy. With something like the flower, you're going to find it more difficult. So what I would say is, with your oval, extend it. With your paper, extend it. With your flower, we're going to have to be a bit more clever. So, rectangle. Nice easy one. Press and hold shift, and we're going to extend it outwards. If you want to then change your pattern because you've extended that shape, you can do. So you can go back to your fill. I know it seems like a long time since we did this one. So press and hold shift and you can adjust it accordingly. Let's go there. Okay, next oval. I'm just going to pop a stroke to the outside. So, come on computer, thank you. And I'm going to just eyedropper it just for now. There we go. Take the pressure off. Reset. There we go. And we can use our stroke to extend that oval. So our cut line is still up here, so it's still cut correctly. It's just extending that colour beyond to give you a little bit of a leeway. And you can do the same with your frame, so that you have extended that colour both inside and outside. So, and you can eyedropper from anywhere on your worktop. So if you've got a swatch that you can just go to, you can just use that. If you're on a Mac, it's probably throwing up a couple of warnings about security settings. If so, just let Ian know and Ian can show you how to fix that. So I'm just going to again increase that path so that we've got a little bit of a bleed, like so. And finally for our flower, we can go to that bottom layer. So bear in mind you've still got that pixel layer as well. And I'm going to add a stroke to that. I'm going to use the eyedropper and I'm going to go to the outside of our shape. And then we can add width to that stroke. Now bear in mind that it is going to affect your embossing, so if I make that bigger, you can see it's pushing that highlight. So you don't want to make it too big that you lose that embossing. You can also adjust it so that you don't lose it too much, and that we can bring it back inside a little bit. So we can use our radius to actually bring that back in, and then when it cuts it's going to be spot on. We can also use our stroke alignment, so again we're going to make sure that it goes to the outside of the path. And let's just adjust that slightly, so bring in a little bit more. There we go. And close. And we'll be ready to go. So what I will do is I will pop this file up on the group as well so that you can see how it's set up. So flower, card, print and cut.
Did you put your border on the bottom of that one as well? So it's all on one page.
That's going to be cut out from coloured card, so I wanted to show how we do both. Okay, so we still have our registration there that we haven't done yet. So with registration I just use the path tool and just do a little bit of a corner. Now what I would say is just reduce that point size a little bit. You don't need it that big, just big enough so that you can scan it. And I'm going to pop another one over here. And I'm just pressing and holding shift so it constrains the horizontal and vertical. And I'm going to put another one down here. So I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom so that I can still use that paper for something else. So now we have our 3 registration marks, and I'll save that again. So we have the basis set up for our print and cut. So if we were printing it, what I would first of all do, shrink up the layers, and we're going to hide that cut layer. So when we go to print, it's just literally going to print the print and the registration. And why is my paper gone? But dope.
Because it's got as much print as it trying to do it.
I thought that. I thought is it trying to send it to the wrong printer.
So what paper size has it got? Is it being dense with the paper size?
It doesn't say it is. I know what it is. Right, entire document. Upward one. There we go. Let's try and do everything at once. Trying to be clever. So we just want to print artboard 1 because that's the one that has the registration marks on it. Okay, so you may find that when you're going to print you're going to see a different looking menu. Number 1 because I'm on Big Sur, number 2 because you'll have a different printer to me in all likelihood. And as much as I love my printer, I know that it's, you know, rare out there at the moment. Are you okay, Ian? What's up? Okay. He's wandered off on me. What have you lost? Okay. So, chances are it's just that you just need to go into that range and fix that.
Okay.
Okay. Next we need to export it ready for sending to our cut machine. So, before I do that, let's get rid of my effects. That's the other thing. When you are working with any pop-ups in Affinity, you can always move these. So if they are in your way, just move them. Even if it's like when you're saving it, still put them in front. So, I want my cut layer back, and I want to hide my print layer this time. So we have our cut file for our border and our one for our print. We're going to go to export, and you can see I've already got a preset set up for scan and cut. So let's talk you through this. The DPI is important. I had a right ding dong with somebody the other day on one of the Affinity groups who said that DPI is not important. Yes, it is. Even when we are not rasterizing anything, as it says, nothing will be rasterized. It makes a difference in terms of it coming in to the correct size. So 96 is the magic number. So write that down somewhere if you don't do the next bit, just so that you have it to hand. The next tick box is export text as curves for font independence. What that actually means is export text as curves so you can actually cut it. Okay, so leaving that one ticked is a really good idea because it stops you making a very silly mistake. So if you haven't converted text to curves and you want to cut it, then that tick box is going to save you having to go back in and having to redo your file because it's going to do it automatically. The area, so whether you want it to do artboard 1, the cut only, which is the right hand panel, or the whole document, stick to artboard 1 and do each artboard 1 at a time, because otherwise it's just going to get a nightmare with you knowing which is which when it comes out the other end. And don't export layers hidden by export persona. What that actually means is if you've gone into your export, you can actually choose which layers you want to actually put out. Now, if all was well and good, that could be all your settings that you'd have to do, but no. So you need to go into more, and now we can see a bit more detail. So file format SVG, correct. Rasterize nothing, absolutely correct, because the scan and cut can't see anything that is rasterized. Use DPI, it's really important, even if your document was originally set to 96, to put it back in there so that it says 96. Allow JPEG compression makes no difference whatsoever because we're not allowing anything to go to JPEG. Export text as curves, tick it. Longer text spans, untick it. Use relative coordinates, tick it. Use hex colours, untick it. Flatten transforms, untick it. Because as I said before, when we're using things like your corner rounder, we've converted it to shapes anyway. Use tile patterns, untick it. Set view box, this is really important. Untick it when you are going to be using Canvas desktop. Okay, online doesn't seem to care so much, but desktop definitely needs you to untick that set view box. Shouldn't make a difference, but it does. So the difference being, if you don't untick it, everything comes in tiny. So if you've bought in an SVG and it's come in and it's about an inch square, that's what's wrong with it. The view box is wrong. Add line breaks, tick it, include bleed, untick it. So when you have all that done, you can then save as a preset. If you go to manage presets, you'll have an option that says create preset. So you can click that and then you can rename it Scan and Cut. And once you've done it this once, that's all you will ever have to do. It should always remember. Except for when Ian's had a random fit and not remembering it. But that's just a poorly Mac for you. There you go. So I'll leave that on screen until everybody tells me that they've got that bit set up, okay?
I'll give it a couple of minutes just on screen.
Yeah.
Quite a few people just watching, so
yeah, you can always screenshot it if needs be for it to refer back to. I have put a screenshot up in the main group as well a couple of times. But people have asked.
We can always put it up we'll put a fresh one up, can't we?
Yeah.
In the Affinity group.
It's in the screenshots folder when you're looking for it. Okay. So I'm going to go close and artboard 1 and we can go export. It's going to come up and it's going to try and go in a different folder just because. I'm going to go back to Affinity Workshop, which is where my other files are saved. And it says flower card print and cut. Well, yep, that's about right, so I can save that. Now we need to save this one. So we're going to go to File, Export. This time we're going to go to Cut Only and Export. And this time we can go and take the printing cut out and we can put cut border. And then we're ready to go. Take that into Canvas, have a play, send it to the machine, do your background scan, align your registration marks, cut it and off you go. And you've created your first cut file. So I think with that you can give yourself a good round of applause. And are there any questions for the last half an hour on things you would like me to go in a bit more detail on, whether that's with the pixel side, or if you want me to go into more detail with text, or more details with shapes, or I can even do a little bit on transparency if you want me to. Oh, I know one thing I haven't shown. I'm just going to start, actually I don't even need to start a new document for it. I'm going to go back to my original exercise. I'm going to go back to this artboard one. I'm going to show you a little tip. So while you're all thinking of questions, I'm just going to do a little tip with a tool. So let's say you want to just draw. Okay? Not everybody thinks that they can't draw, some actually know that they can draw very well. So if you are more confident with working with a stylus rather than doing a click and click drag, you can actually use your pencil tool. So that's this one just here. Okay, and you can see you can set it all to the same kinds of settings as your pen tool. So we can put it on stroke colour, give it width, we can add pressure if we want to. So if you want to do some lettering, you can do. We can put a stabilizer on it, so if you want to have it feel a bit smoother, we can do. And you can use fill if you want to. Now my advice is leave fill off, because then you can see where you're going a little bit easier. So let's say you want to draw, what do I feel like drawing? Let's go for a flower. Now this could be interesting because I'm, deck chair. No, not a deck chair. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to draw. Would be good if it was a bit bigger. Thank you. Now it's going to do it. Okay. So you may be thinking, okay, that's a bit wonky donkey. That's okay, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go to my no tool and I'm just going to join these two bits together. Just because I want to make sure that everything links up. So how we were doing before, we can use our join curves and our join curves so that we're making sure that our shape is one. So now I'm going to go back to my pencil tool and I'm going to take a really important button, and that is the sculpt button. It's going to turn blue. On your PC it may look a bit different, but you want to make sure that it changes colour. And what this means, instead of drawing a new shape, it's going to sculpt the selected shape. So this means that we can look at that shape and go, okay, I'm not happy with this petal. I'm going to shrink it down, like so. And that means we can start to work with files, actually drawing and editing them just using a pencil. Now I will say that this particular method of editing files is easier with a graphics tablet, and I'm sure Carol would agree with me. It's much easier to do this with a graphics tablet than it is to do it with a mouse. So just give that a go, give yourself a squiggle to work on, and then you're just going to select sculpt and you can just play. Now if it puts in a double line like this, you can see it's actually putting a new endpoint here. Just hit undo, because what that means it's done is it's actually split open your shape. So just do that again. Like so. And I'm just going to change that shape there so it just flows a bit better, like that. So flowers are a really good one to practice on, because there's no such thing as a wrong flower. Okay. And you can still use your pressure if you want to, so that you're controlling that pressure as you go with your stylus. But for most of the time when I'm working with cut files, I don't tend to use pressure in that sense. Okay. So we could also use it to write some text if we wanted to, so we can go do a H. E. Oop, that was a bit wonky donkey. Whoa. Hello. And because we've got that sculpt still on, I can just try and sort that out a little bit. There we go. And same down there. Oh, just trying to do the wrong bit. There we go. Dee, 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 dee. If you can't get to the right bit, sometimes it pays to go the other way. There we go. So we have hello. That can be a nice easy way of creating a design for your focal if you feel that way inclined. And even when you've shrunk it and played with it, you can still go back and edit it and just take out those extra little nodes that might not be in the right place. It's hard work with a mouse.
It's actually trackable.
I did say it's hard to do it with a mouse. It's definitely one of those that is more of a graphics tablet, but a graphics tablet needn't be super duper expensive, need it?
Oh, no, I know that, no. But, yeah, don't do it with a trackable mouse, no chance.
And the other thing is, you can do text in exactly the same way as what you do in Canvas, so if you want to apply it to a wiggly line, you can do. And you can go, oh, help me out here, sweetie, I need a longer sentence.
Congratulations.
A longer sentence.
A longer sentence.
Yeah.
Home is where the heart is.
Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger so it goes down the path a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Tiny text.
There we go. And we can align it to the centre. So make sure that it's in the middle. And we can adjust that baseline. So whenever we're doing something where we've got like that ball of a U, we're going to want to alter our baseline so that it starts to sit down into that baseline a bit more so that your letters don't collide. And we can even make it our scripty font just because we can. Oh, not that big though. Go for that one. There we go. And again, you can use your baseline just to tweak it. So most of the scripty font is actually created in Affinity originally. And then we had to take it into Illustrator to get it into the plugin, didn't we? To make the font.
How do you make the text change font as you change it so that you can see the changes as you type?
Okay, so in terms of this bit, so probably the easiest way is to literally do it so that you're going down like so. So all I'm doing is just pressing the arrow down so that you can go through. Oh, could have done with that one the other day.
Is that one of your winding statements?
Yeah.
I don't have one of those on my computer, that's why.
Yeah. Shall I show that as a top tip? Because that's quite a funky one actually.
Is that the windings?
Yeah. So you can just use your arrows to just cycle through. That was a bit Star Trek, wasn't it? The other thing that you can do is you can set your recent fonts, so your ones that you've used in recent projects, ones that are actually used in your document, and then you can set up favourites as well. So if you know that a font works particularly well for welding, for instance, you might want to make it a favourite. and use it that way. Now the other top tip that I was saying about is if we go take that shape out, and I'm going to make some room on my mat. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to go to my text tool. So at the moment, if we hover over the edge so that we get it to our little T with wave again, and we click, it's going to give us our text. Now usually what I do at this point is I type the alphabet. And I'm going to make my text a little bit bigger so I can see as well. Now if we choose a font that has a pattern in it instead, we can actually start to use that to create a border with.
Don't forget you get different recap stock as well.
Yes, you do. And also when you start to use like your alt characters as well. But I can see which one I want to use. So all the others I'm just going to take out. And that one too. So I have my little sci-fi duty. If I do a shift and a right arrow, I'm going to select that text and Command and C to copy, or Control and C on a PC. I can then paste in as many as I think I'm going to need. I'm going to select all, so Command A or Control A, so that my text is selected. Again, I can use my baseline to line those up, so I want to go through the middle. And I'm going to go to the centre. So that should space them out fairly evenly. So you can see we've got a couple of little issues in the corners, but we can always fix those in a minute. So I'm just going to use the height just to try and sort these out a little bit. Okay, so if we just need to just tweak that slightly, I just want to try and get in that space there. You can just tweak that space down, and it's going to be good. Sometimes it's not so good. But I'm going to go to Layer, and I'm going to convert that to curves. Now if I ungroup that, so that's Command Shift G or Control Shift G, I'm just going to tweak these two so that they come down a little bit. And these two so they come up. So we're nice and evenly spaced. Now this is where we can get a bit advanced. We can go and do our spacing so that they're going to be nice and evenly distributed. We can use line so that we make sure that our corners line up like so. So we can align right on this one. We can get these so they all line up properly by using space vertically. and space vertically, and we have the start of a frame. We can pop in a rectangle, so I'm just going to bring that in, line that up like so. So I'm just going to line these up to the right so that it's got a nice straight line to work with, like so. Just makes it a bit easier for doing my alignment then. To the left, line these up, space horizontally, and space horizontally. So they should all be nice and even. I'm going to bring this down just so it's just going to catch those little stars. Same on this outside edge here, otherwise they're going to end up floating and we don't want that. We want them to touch that rectangle so that we can make sure that
Sally says she's got
it's
to
all
go.
welded.
She's enjoyed it very much.
That's okay. We knew that Sally was going to probably have to go anyway, so there we go. So now we've created a frame where we can weld. Now if it does these little random bits here, don't panic, because at this stage most people would go, oh, it hasn't worked. It has, it's just done something that's a little bit loopy. So this is when your nodes come in. So we can just select those nodes and delete them. Nice and simples.
Could you use a square as a plaster, or would it not work on that?
Sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't work. So like this one just here where it's a bit mad, it won't work so well.
It was only a thought. Yeah. Oh.
So that one I'm just going to convert it to a point just so it goes there. Just want to try and bring that down a little bit. There we go. So it's in line with that one. And that one I'm going to just convert to a point. And if you need to put in another curve, we can go around there, like so. And in a minute I will do another little divide and we can take that out. And it's just where it goes slightly doolally. I'm just going to nudge that down again, convert that to a corner point, and that's that one done. So I'm going to click off that so I can see what's happening there. So I'm just following the red ones in that case. There we go. With the little tiny dots like this, just take those out and it just cleans it up better so that when you are cutting them you're going to end up with a much better result. Just going to take those little bits out there too. And there. And there we go. We have a frame with a nice decorative edge. So you can use any wingdings font to do that, should you wish. With those two little bits where you've got the holes, believe it or not, those would still cut accurately. But if it bugs you, then you can divide and subtract and it will fix them. So the same if you're welding and you find that you're losing the centre letters, divide, subtract and it should be fine. Any other questions? No.
No, we've got nothing.
Oh dear.
Melted all the brains. No. Mush in the corner somewhere.
So we've covered a lot today really, because we've covered the pixel persona, thank you. We've covered doing images and effects for using it with our printers. We've covered how to do cut files. And we've even covered how to write our own text. Very quickly.
Sandra says you've got brain ache.
Sorry. But the advantage of doing it like this is you can go back, you can practice, you can try different papers. You don't have to use the B ones if you don't want to. There's loads of brilliant kits out there that you could use to do the same effect with. So we put quite a few up on the group for design bundles quite often. We try and share out some Creative Fabrica ones too. You're probably going to see a few more of those popping up over the coming weeks.
Says, thank you both so much. Really enjoyed today. A couple of bits I need to rewatch and may still have to ask if I still don't understand. That's not an issue. We don't mind you asking.
We love questions. And if there's something that we haven't covered where we think that we need to come back on and just show something, we can do that. So don't be afraid or think that we can't show you something, because this is literally a scratch on the surface of what you can do with Affinity. Absolute scratch on the surface. So we've done a little bit of symbols, a little bit of assets, but symbols can do so much more. So whereas I just did that map with just shapes and alignment, symbols can do really complex designs.
And Janine said lots of useful information that will be good to dip in and out of. Thanks for the sticker info. Sorry for the digression. No problem.
No problem at all.
We'll definitely be revisiting. Really enjoyed it.
That's good. So next weekend we're doing Coal and Skull, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So if you're booked onto those, we'll see you then. And we will be back. We're going to do Monday or Tuesday this week. We could do Monday, couldn't we?
Maybe. Cameron said unfortunately I've not been able to do anything yet.
We'll get you fixed.
I have to rewatch several times with beta until I get the full version going. Thanks a lot to you both. As you know, I'll probably be asking cross questions. That's fine, like I said. And Sandra said totally out of my comfort zone. But I'm very grateful for this now to replay a few times and for it to register and load.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking that needs fixing. And it's going there. It's okay, it's because it's put the silly stroke on it. So I'm just going to remove the stroke off those. There we go. And I'll just check these as well in case it's in here too. No, it looks okay in there. There we go. So I'm just going to save that.
That's done.
I believe so.
There you go. So thank you all very much. We hope you've enjoyed it and
Had fun.
Had fun. There's lots for you to learn, and like I said, the videos will stay up in the group for as long as Facebook will let us. So, and if you have any questions or you think of something and you think, oh, I should have asked that, just pop us a question and we'll do our best to answer.
Yeah, because it's one of those ones, isn't it, where you can never think of the question at the time, and then you'll be going back over it and trying something else, and you're like, well, I've done that, but why hasn't that worked?
And Pam says thank you so much.
That's okay.
And so much. Well, thank you so much to Lynn. So, there's a lot on it. So.
Yeah, so we've done a lot today. You should really give yourselves a good pat on the back for getting through it. So if there's anything that you want us to go back over after today, don't be afraid to reach out and just let us know.
Either in this group or in the
main group.
We don't mind. We get notifications for both. So.
Yep. And occasionally we get very random questions. So you never know, I might put this one together in the week.
That'd be cool. Print it out. And
yeah. So that I could actually do that in a class.
Yeah. I don't know, you've done a lot now.
Yeah. As I said, it really is just scratching the surface, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
There's so much that it can do. I mean, we put the bee paper in, for instance, and you can actually, instead of using the bee paper, you could put in glitter, like a digital glitter paper, so you can actually start to mock up your designs. So as you're designing, you can actually see what your finished project's going to look like, rather than just thinking, well, I'm going to cut that out of that glitter card and I'm going to cut that out of that pattern piece. You can actually go, right, okay, well, I've got some glitter card digitally that I can bring in. If you want to bring a scan in, you can do that too. So if you want to scan your pattern paper and bring that in, just be aware that you don't change the size on your pattern paper, because obviously that would then affect your results. But
thank you so much. See you next week.
That's okay. So take care, and I think that's it for today. Bye for now. Bye.